At Thanksgiving, my brother's son shouted, "People like you don't belong here." Everyone joined in. What they didn't realize is I'm the one who paid for this entire mansion they're sitting in. We can't keep going without your love. Hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling us your location. We'd love to know where our stories reach. The crystal chandelier above my dining table cost more than most people's cars. But as I watched my nephew Jerry sneer at me across the Thanksgiving spread, I realized money couldn't buy you respect in your own home. "People like you don't belong here," he said loud enough that every conversation stopped. The turkey I'd spent 6 hours preparing sat cooling between us. My hands shook as I gripped my wine glass, the Waterford set I'd bought specifically for this dinner. "Excuse me." My voice came out smaller than I intended. "I'm Cheryl Lewis and I don't do small." At 34, I'd built a tech consulting empire from nothing. This 6-bedroom mansion in Buckhead was mine. Every marble countertop, every custom fixture, every thread of the Persian rugs. Purchased with my money, my sweat, my sleepless nights. Jerry leaned back, smirking. At 19, he had my brother Eric's same entitled slouch. "You heard me. Always acting like you're better than everybody. Showing off." Around the table, 12 faces watched. My mother looked down. My brother Eric cleared his throat but said nothing. His wife Audra whispered something to their daughter. Then my sister Leanne laughed. Actually laughed. "Girl, he's got a point. You do be doing the most. This house, these fancy plates, like we get it." My stomach dropped. The room I'd decorated with family photos, their graduations, their weddings, their babies, suddenly felt like a mausoleum. I'd invited them here, cooked for them, opened my home. And this was my thanks? "Maybe you should listen," Eric finally said, not meeting my eyes. Something inside me went very, very quiet. I pushed my chair back slowly, the legs scraping against hardwood that cost $80 per square foot. "You want to talk about belonging?" My voice was steady now, cold. "Let me tell you a story about belonging." Everyone stared. Good. They should hear this. 15 years ago, Mama, you remember where we were? That 2-bedroom apartment on Glenwood. Roaches in the kitchen. Eric sleeping on the couch because Leanne and I shared that closet they called a second bedroom. My mother's face tightened. "Cheryl, don't." "Don't what?" "Tell the truth." I stood up, looking at each of them. I was 19. Working overnight at UPS. Going to Georgia State during the day. Y'all remember that beat-up Honda Civic I drove? The one that broke down every other week. Leanne rolled her eyes. "Here we go with the struggle story." "No, here we go with the truth story." I walked to the window overlooking my pool. While y'all were sleeping, I was teaching myself to code. While y'all were partying, I was building websites for $50 each. While y'all were living your lives, I was building mine. Eric shifted uncomfortably. "We all had it hard, Cheryl." "Did you?" I turned around. "Tell me, Eric. When you got arrested for that DUI in 2015, who paid your lawyer? Who paid the $15,000 to keep your record clean?" The room went silent. Audra looked at her husband sharply. "You said your job paid for that." "My job," I continued, "paid for a lot of things nobody wants to acknowledge." I pulled out my phone. My hands weren't shaking anymore. "You want to talk about belonging? About what people deserve?" I opened my banking app. "Leanne, your nursing school loans. $47,000. Paid off in 2018. By me." Leanne's face went red. "You said that was a gift." "It was. Just like the down payment on your condo was a gift. $25,000. I scrolled through my records. Years of transactions, each one a memory of someone asking for help. "Your wedding, Leanne? $32,000. You wanted that destination wedding in Mexico. I made it happen." "Cheryl, baby, we're family," Mama started. "Family." I laughed, but nothing was funny. Mama, your medication. The ones insurance doesn't cover for your diabetes. $450 a month for the past 6 years. That's $32,000. Jerry's smirk had faded. His mother Audra was looking at Eric with an expression I couldn't read. And Eric. Dear Eric. I walked closer to my brother. Your business ventures. The barbershop that failed, $30,000. The car wash idea, $25,000. The cryptocurrency investment scam, $40,000. Should I continue? Those were loans, Eric said weakly. Show me one payment. One. I waited. I'll save you the trouble. There aren't any. Just like there aren't any payments for the $10,000 I gave you last Christmas. Or the $15,000 for Jerry's first year at Morehouse. Jerry's eyes widened. Dad said he paid for. Your daddy hasn't paid for much of anything in 5 years, I said. The silence in the room was suffocating. Uncle Raymond, my father's brother who'd been quiet until now, cleared his throat. Now Cheryl, there's no need to air out. Air out what, Uncle Raymond? The truth. I turned to him. The $1,500 I send you every month for your rent? Should we keep that secret too? His wife Diane gasped. Raymond, you said you got a raise. I think, Audra said slowly, standing up, we need to have a conversation about honesty in this family. She looked at Eric with pure fury. You've been lying to me for years. Baby, it's not, Eric started. Don't. Audra's voice cut like glass. Don't you dare. My younger cousin Jessica, who'd been quiet, spoke up. Aunt Cheryl, I didn't know about any of this. She was 22 in grad school. One of the few people who'd actually thanked me for helping with her undergraduate loans. Most people don't, Jess. Because I don't announce it. I looked at Jerry. Unlike some people, I don't need to broadcast my contributions to feel important. I do it because I thought family meant something. Cheryl, you're making this a bigger deal than it is, Leanne said, but her voice wavered. Am I? Your son just told me I don't belong in my own house. A house I bought. That I pay for. That I invited all of you to. The weight of what I was saying hung in the air. This wasn't just about money. This was about respect, about acknowledgement, about being seen. You want to know what really hurts? My voice cracked and I hated myself for it. I'd promised I wouldn't cry. It's not the money. Money I can make. It's that I've been invisible to all of you. Mama reached for my hand. Baby, you're not. I pulled away. When's the last time any of you asked how I was doing? When's the last time anyone asked about my life, my struggles, my dreams? I looked around the table. I had a miscarriage last year. Did any of you know that? The shock on their faces was answer enough. I was 12 weeks pregnant. Went to the ER alone because I couldn't reach anyone. I called you Mama. 3 times. You were at Leanne's getting your hair done. Mama's hand went to her mouth. Oh my God, Cheryl, you never said. I tried to. You said you'd call me back and then asked if I could send money for the water bill. The tears came now hot and angry. Leanne, I called you from the hospital parking lot. You said you were busy with the kids and could we talk later? We never talked later. Cheryl, I'm so sorry, Leanne whispered. I was going to name her Madison. The words felt like stones. I had started a nursery in the room upstairs. The one you use as your personal closet when you visit, Leanne. Did you ever notice the paint samples? The crib catalogs? Jessica was crying now. Aunt Cheryl, I had no idea. Nobody did. Because nobody asked. I wiped my face roughly. And then 6 months later, when my business partner tried to steal my company, when I was fighting a legal battle that almost destroyed everything I'd built, when I was having panic attacks so bad I couldn't breathe, where were all of you? You never told us, Eric said. I texted the family group chat. 37 times over 3 months. I pulled out my phone again, scrolled to show them. I said I was struggling. I said I needed support. You know what I got back? Requests for money. Leanne needed help with her car payment. Eric needed bail money for Jerry after he got caught with weed. Jerry's face went pale. How did you? Because I'm the one who paid the $2,500 to get you out. Your father called me at 2 in the morning begging. I looked at Eric. And I did it. Just like I've done everything else. Because that's what I thought family did. Uncle Raymond stood up. Cheryl, I think we all need to take a step back. Sit down. My voice was steel. You don't get to play peacemaker when you've been playing me for 5 years. Remember when you said you needed money for your granddaughter's surgery? The one who supposedly needed heart surgery. Diane looked confused. Our granddaughter doesn't have heart problems. Exactly. I stared at Raymond. You used a fake medical emergency to get $15,000. Want to tell everyone what you actually spent it on? The boat that's sitting in your driveway. The room erupted. Diane turned on Raymond with a fury I'd never seen. Audra was crying, demanding to see bank statements from Eric. Leanne sat frozen, her carefully constructed image of being the responsible sister crumbling. You know what the worst part is? I said over the chaos. I would have given you all that money anyway. Every single dollar. If you'd just been honest. If you just treated me like a person instead of an ATM. Cheryl, please, Mama said, tears streaming down her face. We love you. Do you? Because love asks how you're doing. Love shows up. Love doesn't just appear when bills are due. I looked at her, really looked at her. When's my birthday, Mama? She froze. When is my birthday? I repeated. It's in September, she said uncertainly. It's July 22nd. I turned 34 this year. Nobody called. Nobody texted. But you know what I did get? A Venmo request from Eric for $2,000. That was my birthday present. A request for money. Jessica spoke up, her voice small. I sent you a card. You did. I smiled at her sadly. You're the only one who did. Thank you. The fight was draining out of me, replaced by something colder. Clear. I'd spent 15 years trying to be enough for these people. Successful enough, generous enough, present enough. And it was never enough because they didn't see me at all. They saw a resource. So when Jerry said people like me don't belong here, I continued, he was right. I don't belong with people who only see my value in dollar signs. This house, I said, walking through the dining room with my arms spread wide. I bought it 3 years ago. 6 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, 7,500 square feet. It cost $2.3 million. Leanne gasped. Several people shifted uncomfortably. I worked 70-hour weeks for 2 years straight to afford the down payment. I sacrificed relationships, health, sleep. You know why? I stopped at the fireplace where family photos lined the mantel. Photos I'd curated, printed, framed. Because I thought I was building something for us. A place where we could all gather. Where the family could be together. Eric wouldn't look at me. Good. Every holiday I'm the one who hosts. I'm the one who cooks, who cleans, who sends out invitations. I'm the one who makes sure everyone has a place at the table. I picked up a photo of last Christmas. Everyone smiling, arms around each other. This picture? I'm not in it. Because I was in the kitchen making sure the mac and cheese didn't burn while y'all took family photos without me. Cheryl, we didn't mean, Leanne started. Didn't mean what? To exclude me? To take me for granted. I set the photo down. There are 47 pictures on this mantel. I'm in 6 of them. 6. But I'm in every price tag, aren't I? Audra stood up, walked over to me. I owe you an apology. A real one. I didn't know Eric was lying about so much. It's not your fault, Audra. But I should have noticed. Should have questioned. He turned to Eric. We're going to have a very long conversation when we get home. I want everyone out, I said quietly. The words felt like breaking glass. Get out of my house. Cheryl, you can't be serious, Eric said, standing up. It's Thanksgiving. Where are we supposed to go? I don't know, Eric. Where did you think you'd go all those times I saved you? Where did any of you think you'd be without my help? I walked to the front door and opened it. But right now, I need you all to leave. Baby, please, let's talk about this, Mama pleaded. We've talked enough. For years we've talked. Or rather, you've all talked at me. Made demands. Made requests. Made assumptions. I held the door open. I'm done talking. Uncle Raymond tried one more time. Cheryl, honey, family forgives. We all make mistakes. Forgiveness requires remorse. Show me one person here who's actually sorry for how they've treated me. Show me one person who's sorry for anything beyond getting caught. Silence. That's what I thought. I fought to keep my voice steady. You have 10 minutes to get your things and leave. Anyone who's not gone by then, I'm calling the police. You wouldn't, Leanne said. Try me. The chaos that followed was predictable. Mama crying, begging. Eric angry, throwing accusations. Leanne playing victim. Uncle Raymond trying to negotiate. But I stood firm, watching them scramble for coats, purses, dishes they'd brought that suddenly became important. Audra stopped at the door. For what it's worth, you deserve better than this. Thank you for trying to help us, even when we didn't deserve it. Take care of yourself, Audra. Jessica was the last one lingering. Aunt Cheryl, can I stay and help clean up? You don't have to do that, Jess. I want to. She closed the door behind the others. What they did tonight, what Jerry said, that was cruel. You didn't deserve that. We stood in the silence of my too big house. The dining table was still set, food getting cold. Evidence of a celebration that never happened. I suddenly felt exhausted down to my bones. Why didn't you ever say anything? Jessica asked as we started clearing plates. About everything you were doing for everyone? Because I thought it shouldn't matter. I thought family was supposed to support each other without keeping score. I scraped turkey into Tupperware. And I didn't want to be the bitter person who throws money in people's faces. But they threw it in yours by taking you for granted. Yeah. I sat down heavily. They did. Jessica joined me at the table. I'm in debt to you too, you know. The $30,000 for my undergrad. But I want you to know I'm going to pay you back. I've been putting aside money every month. It's not much yet, but... Jess, you don't have to. Yes, I do. Not because I owe you money, but because I owe you respect. She grabbed my hand. You gave me a chance when nobody else would. When I got pregnant at 17 and everyone wrote me off, you were the only one who said I could still go to college. You paid for childcare while I went to classes. I'd forgotten about that. Not the money, but the reason behind it. Jessica's son, little Eric Jr., named ironically after his deadbeat uncle. She'd been so determined to make something of herself. How is MJ? I asked. He's amazing. 5 years old now, reading at a second grade level. Because of the opportunities you gave me. My phone started buzzing. Texts flooding in. I almost didn't look, but Jessica nudged me. Might as well see what they're saying. Eric, you're really going to throw away family over money? That's cold. Leanne, Mama's having a breakdown because of you. Hope you're happy. Uncle Raymond, this is what happens when money makes people forget where they come from. The nerve. The absolute nerve of these people. But then another text. From a number I didn't recognize. Hi Cheryl, this is Audra. Eric doesn't know I'm texting. I've been going through our finances tonight. It's worse than I thought. I found bank statements he's been hiding. Can we talk? I called her immediately. Cheryl, I'm so sorry, Audra said, her voice thick with crying. I've been going through everything. The lies go back years. He's been telling me he was making more than he was. He took out credit cards in my name. I think he might have taken money from Jerry's college fund too. My heart sank. Audra, I'm so sorry. Don't apologize. You've been trying to hold this family together while we tore you apart. She paused. I'm filing for divorce. I can't stay with someone who lies this much. Who uses people like this. Are you sure? That's a big decision. I'm sure. And Cheryl? Jerry's going to apologize to you. Properly. Because I just told him everything. How much you've actually done. He's mortified. After we hung up, another text came through. This one from my mother. Baby, I've been thinking about everything you said. I was wrong. So wrong. Can we please talk tomorrow? I want to do better. I want to be better. I love you. Jessica watched me read it. You going to respond? Eventually. When I'm ready. I set the phone down. Right now, I need to process. The weekend passed in a blur. I turned off my phone Saturday and spent Sunday in therapy, unpacking everything with Dr. Williams, my therapist who I'd been seeing since the miscarriage. Monday morning, I turned my phone back on to 347 messages. But one email caught my attention. From Christina Walsh, a former colleague who'd started her own venture capital firm. Cheryl, heard through the grapevine you might be looking for new opportunities. I'm launching a fund specifically for women of color in tech. Want you to be a partner. Let's talk. The opportunity was massive. Life-changing. But it would mean relocating to San Francisco, leaving Atlanta, leaving my family, or what was left of it. My doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. Through the peephole I saw Mama. Alone. I almost didn't open it. But something in her posture, smaller, humbled, made me turn the lock. I'm not here to make excuses, she said immediately. I'm here to listen. We sat in my living room, the one she'd complimented but never asked how I could afford. When your daddy died, Mama started, I put everything into making sure you kids were okay. Or at least that's what I told myself. But really I was drowning. And when you started succeeding, started making money, it felt like relief instead of pride. Mama. Let me finish. She wiped her eyes. I turned you into a safety net instead of celebrating you as my daughter. You were my solution instead of my child. And that's not fair. You deserved a mother who asked about your dreams, your pain, your life. Not one who only called when she needed something. I had a miscarriage, Mama. I lost a baby. I know, baby. I know. He was crying now. And I missed it. I missed being there for the most important thing because I was worried about a water bill. 3 weeks later, I stood in my living room. No, my former living room, watching movers pack the last of my belongings. The house had sold in 48 hours over asking price. Multiple offers. A tech executive and his family were moving in next week. Jessica helped me pack photos. You sure about San Francisco? I'm sure. I carefully wrapped the few family photos I was keeping. Most would go to storage. Christina's firm is exactly what I've been looking for. A chance to build something meaningful, to help other women who've been where I've been. And your family? Mama and I are talking. Weekly phone calls. Real conversations. I smiled. She started therapy too. We're working on rebuilding but on different terms. And the others? Eric and I haven't spoken. Leanne sent an apology text last week but it felt performative. Uncle Raymond tried to hit me up for money yesterday, so that tells you where he stands. I shook my head. But Audra's doing well. Her divorce is almost final. She started her own business, a catering company. And Jerry. As if on cue, my phone rang. Jerry's name flashed on the screen. Aunt Cheryl. His voice was different. Younger. Vulnerable. I know you're leaving today. Can I see you before you go? 20 minutes later, he stood on my doorstep with a notebook. His eyes were red. I wrote everything down, he said, because I needed to make sure I said this right. What I said to you at Thanksgiving was the worst thing I've ever done. I was parroting my dad's bitterness. His jealousy. I didn't know everything you'd sacrificed. Jerry. I'm transferring to community college. Paying my own way. I got a job at Best Buy and I'm taking loans out in my name. I don't want anything else from you except maybe someday forgiveness. I pulled him into a hug. You're already forgiven. As I drove away from the mansion that afternoon, Atlanta's skyline fading in my rearview mirror, I didn't feel sad. I felt free. The weight of being everyone's savior had lifted. I was just Cheryl again. Not the bank, not the solution, not the invisible woman holding everyone together. My phone buzzed. A text from Christina. Your office is ready. Welcome to your new life, partner. I smiled and merged onto the highway heading west, toward everything I'd been too busy to dream about. Toward a life where I belonged not because I paid for the space, but because I'd finally learned I was worth more than what I could give away. Family wasn't about blood or obligation. It was about respect, reciprocity, and being seen. And if that meant starting over 3,000 miles away, then that's exactly what I'd do. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from people who only love what you provide. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is choose yourself. I chose me. And for the first time in 15 years, that felt like enough.